Welcome, everybody. This is January 5th, Thursday. We are almost to the end of the week. This will be the last podcast of this week, but I will be back Monday. So why don't we get right to it? A young man was held captive by 4 suspects in Chicago, tortured and humiliated. Police found the man wandering the streets, dazed and confused after the previous 24 to 48 hour ordeal. Mayor Rahm Emanuel must be relieved to hear his murder rate in the new year is 1 tick lower than it could have been, as the suspect did survive, or the victim I should say. Only days after being warned by President-elect Trump, the city continues to display exactly why it is the most violent piece of real estate between the Atlantic and the Pacific. These monsters of the Midway, a phrase commonly used to describe Chicago Bear linebackers and defense in general during their heyday, need to be beaten over the head with the hammer of justice, swiftly and with the full force of the law. I'm referring to these 4 suspects, of course. What will happen? Well, I can't promise you that the other side of the fence will fail to call this an example of racism, even though the suspects are recorded saying F the white people, or F white people, F Donald Trump, while, holding a knife and cutting the victim's head open. Now, I will say it has since been updated, as it usually has been, by about 5:30 to 6 p.m., like when I record, but they've been charged with a hate crime, so I will mention that. As Ben Shapiro over at the Daily Wire pointed out, the left came down on a 14-year-old racist white kid in Pennsylvania just recently for posting a Snapchat directed at a 16-year-old black kid. Was it racist? Oh yeah. And we can all agree. He recorded the kid eating chicken wings, barked at him about needing government assistance, and called him the N-word. Charges came out against the kid for this, the 14-year-old, including ethnic intimidation as well as cyber harassment. What about the case of racism combined with physical torture against a white disabled kid in Chicago? Again, it actually has been charged as such, a hate crime. So at least they got this right. I can't say the same about the media in the way that they're going to cover this, or should I say bury it, as soon as they possibly can. But earlier today, it said as of right now, earlier today, the Chicago police superintendent is quoted as saying, quote, "I think some of it is just stupidity. People just ranting about something that they think might make a headline. I don't think that at this time we have anything concrete to really point us in that direction, but we'll keep investigating and we'll let the facts guide us to how this concludes." The evidence was already clear-cut at that time, just as it was in the fried chicken case, except this was much worse. It involved torture. Leftists will continue to be the epitome of hypocrisy. Reverse racism does not exist on the left, and they're right, it doesn't. There's only racism. We either call it fairly both ways, or we delude ourselves for political gain. Dylan Roof was racially motivated, and we can all agree to condemn it. Everyone I know on the right completely disavows this guy as a member of humanity, let alone the right side of the political spectrum. Why is it so hard to do that if you identify as a progressive? I normally get into freedom news right away, but I'd like to also touch up on this subject. I can't let this one pass by. It's too big of a story, so I'm just leading right off with it. I'd like to just get to the Black Lives Matter response to this. I think it is very eye-opening. If you don't know much about the Black Lives Matter movement, you're about to know a little more. So Shaun King, a white Black Lives Matter activist, he looks sort of black, he kind of identifies that way, whatever. I don't care how people identify or what do they want to do, but listen to his dumb leftist comment of the day. We're just skipping right to this segment. He wrote on Twitter, quote, "The simple reason why I won't be fighting for justice for the young man who was assaulted in Chicago," unquote. And he gives a link. So that's right, ladies and gentlemen. One of the strongest voices for Black Lives Matter can't get behind the disabled white kid who was tortured for up to 2 full days in Chicago by 4 suspects, something which has been officially charged as a hate crime. If this doesn't tell you everything you need to know about the Black Lives Matter movement and the divide in this country, I don't know what else to show you. Shaun King is incapable of having sympathy for the other side. If he can't show sympathy for a disabled, beaten, tortured, innocent kid, do you think his political opponents have a chance? He must absolutely hate them with every ounce of his blood. And even more, I have another example, and this is of the actual media, so this is a little more disgraceful. Let's just take a listen to Don Lemon of CNN as he gives his take on what happened and what the motivation was for these 4 people.
I just wonder,
I never would.
when you see these are 18-year-old kids, and you look at the video, you're like, what is going on? What on earth? Why would anybody ever think that it was okay to treat another person like that for any reason, regardless of it, if it's a disabled person, if it's a mentally and physically incapacitated person, if it's a white person or black person, whatever. Why on earth, Matt? I just don't understand it.
So far, so good, Don.
Man's inhumanity to man. It's brutality is what it is. And I think the fact that this is a vulnerable person who was probably duped into sort of going along with them, it appears, somebody who was mentally disabled, I think makes it even more sickening. But, Don, I mean, at the end of the day, you just try to wrap your head around evil. That's what this is. It's evil. It's brutality. It's man's inhumanity to man. And
you're not going to say it's not evil, are you?
I don't think it's evil. I think these are young people, and I think they have bad home training.
Okay, let's just pause it right there, Don. This is not evil. I mean, that's laughable. This is so simple. You just need to say that this is evil. Show us that you at least have some level of empathy or sympathy or some logic or something banging around in that head. How on earth can you say that this isn't evil? Beating a disabled kid and torturing him, cutting him, dunking his head in the toilet, holding him hostage for 2 days. I mean, it's while screaming racist stuff at him. Unbelievable. Let's do the if the shoe was on the other foot game. I mean, there would be riots if this were in the other direction. If a white person were 4 white people kidnapped and beat the crap out of a black kid, I mean, the riots would start immediately. We've already seen it. We know they would, because that's what happens. Now, you're not going to see the riots today or tomorrow in rural America about this, but we can all come down on it and condemn it. I mean, not only would there be riots, Don Lemon himself would be ginning up the riots. The leftist media would be ginning up these riots. They would be trying to get, views and trying to, steer the narrative. They would be on top of this immediately, just like they're trying to steer the narrative right now by burying this story. For the most part, they are burying this story, and it's disgraceful. I mean, the media is on a stretch of highway where there were many off-ramps prior to the election. But now they're exposed as frauds for what they, always were. There is no off-ramp now. They're stuck on that long stretch of highway with no gas and no off-ramp and no gas station ahead. The media just has to ride this one out. Those 4 suspects aren't black people. No more than LeBron James is a black person, or Muhammad Ali is a black person. It's not. They're an individual. I mean, aren't we always being lectured about how people are individuals by the left? Yet the second it's time to gin up these race wars, I mean, it immediately goes to the identity politics. Dylan Roof, he doesn't represent white people. He's an individual as well. It doesn't matter what side you're looking at, who's being hateful, who's, murdering or attacking who. It's just that this whole narrative is wrong, and the only reason this toxic narrative exists is because progressives own the media, and it's all being exposed. Their reign of controlling the narrative and ginning up all this race tension is over. It's done. People already know they're frauds. So, let me do a little rewind. Go reverse back to on the freedom side of news. Megyn Kelly has been transitioning, or she is going to at the end of the week, over to NBC, which is a huge shakeup. So let's discuss that. Also, the replacement for Megyn Kelly on Fox News in the 9 o'clock time slot is going to be Tucker Carlson, which is pretty exciting and interesting, I believe. So, I have to just say, this is a huge shakeup. Kelly rose to fame fairly quickly. She doesn't toe the party line, but she does have a conservative slant. Sure, there are some things I don't like about not necessarily her, but just her show or her stance. She has a bit of a feminist tone at times, which is like nails on the chalkboard to the right, especially coming from someone who should have little to complain about. It's like the quarterbacks that are always complaining about making only $15 million a year. Like, you can't really complain when you're in that. You're doing very well in life. So most conservatives still enjoy her no-nonsense approach, especially since she never reaches the shrill levels of Hillary Clinton, Lena Dunham, Taylor Swift, and name any other celebrity. Megyn Kelly has common sense, and people flock to that in a time when it has been almost completely lost in most mediums of news. NBC will be gaining something they haven't had for decades: a person anywhere close to the middle of the road in political view. For this reason, I'm a fan of this move. I believe it will benefit conservatism by opening eyes to different ideas, by sending a more likable messenger to deliver the message. And that matters, especially in times when people just automatically hate the other side. Doesn't matter. I just hate everything you're about to say, and I haven't even heard you say it yet. She can help end that. While I like this move, make no mistake, this is a step down for Kelly. Outside of the financial end, it's a step up. I think she's making like $100 million or something along those lines, maybe 20-some mil a year, 25 mil. Whatever. It's a massive amount of money. But she's going to a network with significantly lower ratings. Not only is she going to a network that has lower ratings, she won't even be featured on the nightly news. That was part of her choice. Apparently, she wants to spend more time with her 3 young children, and I can't blame her. As a conservative, almost all of us would have a consensus that we believe we should put a value on raising children. I mean, that's something conservatives can hop on board with. So it might be hard for her to maintain her 2.8 million daily viewers during the middle of the day that she had at night in primetime on Fox News, but I still think this move is great for her. It also leaves up a huge opportunity for Tucker Carlson, which is going to be Kelly's replacement, according to it was the Drudge Report initially. I discovered that on, but Fox News has since reported that he will replace her in that time slot. He is loved on this network, and Tucker's ratings reflect that in his short time in the 7 p.m. time slot, which I think he just started maybe back in like November, and he set a record for the year in that time slot with 3.5 to 4 million viewers on his first episode, which is unbelievable. If I get even maybe like 1/1,000,000th of that, that would be pretty cool. All right, so I just have to say his charm, his acute dismantling of opponents who lack reason and logic resonate well with the Fox crowd. Many of them feel as though they have been talked down to for years by people, operating on nothing more than feelings. And Tucker goes right after that issue. I predict that Tucker will pull in similar ratings to Kelly within a few months, if not immediately. He already set the record, as I said, for his previous time slot for 2016. And he got started in November. That's pretty good. Tucker has disdain for the media, and he wants to restore trust again. Need an example? Here's a quote of his. Quote, "If you're not in the elite media, if you're not on Wall Street, if you're not in the political class, look at the people who run the country. They sneer at you. They have contempt for you. And you resent that after a while." Unquote. I understand Democrats don't want to hear this, but they should if they ever want to win a rural county ever again. I wish the best of luck to both Kelly and Tucker in their new roles. Let's spread conservatism and break down the political elite who have been dictating the agenda of this nation for far too long on both sides of the fence. So, a couple more things to get to today. Next up is, unfortunately, on the tyranny side of news. I don't know how many people heard about that Philly soda tax, but it just went into effect, and it's been about 4 days. Pretty unbelievable stuff is happening with that. I never really thought a whole lot of it. I always hate to hear about new taxes coming up, but I didn't realize how bad it was going to be. I mean, it's eye-opening. Your jaw might even drop. I don't know. I'm gonna click on the link and pull up a couple examples of what is happening in Philadelphia. So there are some images people have been tweeting out, the increases. So from like Sam's Club, someone posted a receipt of Gatorade, must have been like maybe a 6-pack or something along those lines. It was like $12.94 total, with $7.20 in taxes for this new soda tax. So they spent $12.94. It's like a 40% tax, or 35, 40, up to 50%. It depends on how big the item is, how sugary it is. I don't know. It's bad. So here's another one. Someone purchased some Propel water for $5.99. Normally it would be $5.99. The tax on it was over $3. The total transaction for one Propel water was $9.75. Let that sink in for a second. I mean, we are talking about really screwing over the poor with this tax. I mean, who consumes sugary drinks more than poor people? You think a tax is going to necessarily stop it? No, it's just you're putting them into poverty even more so now. But I don't know. It's pretty ridiculous. Let me give you my take on all of it. It's a form of prohibition on the poor. It hurts consumers, and it does nothing to generate growth in revenue or revenue. It will push businesses and people out of Philadelphia, the birthplace of liberty. Now it's all under siege now from tax-hungry Democrats who want to feed the bureaucrat machine. This doesn't help poor kids. It hurts them, you idiots. It's a tax on almost all drinks. Diet soda, sweet tea, Powerade, V8, you name it. I mean, if it's not water and it's liquid in form, it's probably getting taxed. And it's not just sugar. It's other ingredients that I can't even pronounce and I'd have to look up. So various other teas and drinks are also taxed. Taxes result in the use of government force. And I think people need to look at second and third order effects here in order to really see what can happen and how insidious this is. So what happens when this creates an underground market, which it's going to happen like any prohibition? There's going to be guys selling sodas on the corner illegally, and then, I don't know, I can visualize a police officer wrestling a guy to the ground, or, you know, you're selling illegal sweet tea on the sidewalk. I mean, what happens when it goes to an escalated extreme? Because you have to consider that anytime you make a law. Because if it's enforced with the force of the government, you're talking about a gun. You're talking about a federal, whether it's the police officer, just local police, whatever. It's government force is going to have to enforce whatever that law is. And when it's something so ridiculous as a soda tax law, what happens when someone dies because of trying to sell illegal Diet Mountain Dew? Does that not just sound stupid to you right now? Does that not like just defy logic? Does it sound like only a progressive could even come up with such a stupid tax plan? That's all I think of. Here's what will happen. Either people will give up soda, ending the revenue stream, or maybe they'll move, because who wants to pay $10 for a Propel? Or they'll get it illegally, which then you're not getting your revenue and people are still getting unhealthy, so you're not stopping anything there. Or you're going to charge people and they're going to continue to drink, in which case you're going to just make poor people even more broke. They already can't afford to, exist. And now they got to go pay, $4 for a 2 liter of Diet Coke. I mean, come on. Just unreal. This is not high level economics. How are leftists so stupid when it comes to this stuff? And I'm not including everybody on the left side of the fence. I'm just saying it does not take a whole lot of intellect to figure out, or a college degree of any kind, to figure out supply and demand, and that this tax is simply regulation, and like most other regulations, it hamstrings businesses. It's going to be passed on to the customer. You can tax the companies all you want. The consumer at the very bottom, the little people who have no say, are the ones who end up suffering because of this, like all regulations and taxes. And this is exactly why people can't stand Democrats right now. It's stuff like this. They're a bunch of thugs and thieves, and the fact that they do it with a smile on their face and that it's for your own good, it's even more sickening. Is anyone seriously still wondering why Trump won? I mean, look at, for example, this Philly soda tax for clues. If you still can't see some semblance of reason, then abandon all hope and enjoy living in your bubble for the remainder of your lives, because it's not going to become apparent for you ever. Similar to Sean King. You'll just never get it. I'm not saying you need to come all the way over to the right, but like, if you can't see that this stuff is ridiculous, then just you're hopeless. Do you need more evidence? I can try. There's another thing that happened not too long ago. I don't know if any of you remember, in Austin, Texas, Uber and Lyft have basically been regulated right out of the town. So, you're hammered at 2 a.m., getting all liquored up. You need a ride, can't get a hold of your buddies to help, your sober ones, or you're just all drunk. You're not going to be calling an Uber or a Lyft in Austin, Texas, because of Democrat regulation. They literally ran Uber and Lyft right out of the town. So guess what happened? Or let's just look at a few stats right before that happened. So when they were still in Austin, DUI arrests were down to 358 on average each month. I don't know. Without knowing exactly how huge Austin is, it's kind of just a number. But let's compare it to what it spiked up to after Uber and Lyft left town? Well, the answer is it went up 7.5% on average each month, up to 476, again, from 358 to 476 in the month of June in 2016 alone. Democrat-controlled Austin is just another example of what their policies do for their people. It defies logic, and no consequences or evidence will ever shift their thinking. It just won't. So I don't know why I try, but I know there's some of you that aren't completely to the left. And, we need to expose some of this stuff. Because I promise they're exposing, the problems on the right. There's no shortage of that. So, we need more people out there to expose some of this garbage. And because of that, let me just segue right over, not the machine, just scrolling the mouse, but let's segue right over to the next segment here. I'm going to call Advice for Leftists. I've just prepared a few bullets here for you. I'm not going to go too hard on you. I doubt you're listening, but, maybe we can pass this along to our leftist friends if they haven't unfriended you on Facebook already, which they have a 3 times as likely chance of doing according to a recent poll. So, for starters, work on improving your emotional intelligence this year. Who cares about your waistline if you are incapable of handling routine situations that arise in life? That's in reference to the soda tax, the waistline. Anywho, next up, throw out the term microaggression, put it in a dumpster, light it on fire, put it in a rocket, launch it into space. Hopefully it doesn't blow up like SpaceX and pollute the planet and cause the temperatures to rise, and then we all die. But while you are at it, if you could throw Lena Dunham in that spaceship or dumpster as well, that would be great. Next up, distance yourself from all radicals on your side, not just Lena Dunham. If you want to be taken seriously by people center of the road, and definitely by people on the right, you need to demand demand that your party disassociates with the extremes of your side. Most people on the right do not believe or care what Alex Jones says. So why is it that people on the left seem to still take all of their extremists serious? These zealots, they are zealots and they take them seriously. You know how, the left demands the right to disavow the KKK and other radical racists? Why aren't you doing the same to like Black Lives Matters and radical feminists and radical policies such as those like Bernie Sanders suggests? If you want the right to come closer to you, you need to extend an olive branch, as do the people on the right. Also, you need to face your worst fears. You'll grow stronger if you're able to deal with what you don't like, whether political fears, challenges in life, or any other fear. Avoiding your fears makes you a mental cripple. Bubbles always burst, and echo chambers only produce bubbles prime for popping. Accept responsibility for your outcome in life, no matter your starting cards. Also, allow repentance. Living in a world where people become permanent black sheep is a world of fascism. Remember, you're not perfect. You have dirt on your hands too. Pointing out the flaws in other people, no matter the flaw, does nothing to make you more virtuous. And on that note, put an end to virtue signaling, the sanctimonious tone, such as seen in, Hollywood and other entertainment. It creates a bigger divide, not smaller. It used to be religious people who were sanctimonious. Now it tends to be progressive elitists who behave this way. And we really need to just cut that stuff out. All right, well, let me see what I got up next. I might save this last part for Monday. I have another dumb leftist comment, but I will let Sean King take the crown for this Thursday, January 5th, here on Freedom Fix. And I look forward to talking next week with you guys. Hopefully we can generate some buzz. It would be nice to ride this out while we have a lot of fun stuff ahead. We're only like 14 days away from a new president. I mean, who's counting? But that is exciting. I actually may be able to attend the inauguration. I might try and get some pictures posted on the website. So check those out if I can survive the stampede and protests that are sure to follow. But I'm sure they'll be civil. If the left has proven anything, it's their civility. My name is Derek. This is Freedom Fix Podcast. Tune in next time. Bye-bye.